Absolutely. Just knowing that, you can talk to a million, well, not a million, but, thousands of people that I thought I was the youngest that had a stroke. And then I was like, oh, okay, I'm not the youngest. Like, I was just so, I was just like so surprised that I was so young. And I thought, old people have a stroke, not young people.
This is the Recovery After Stroke podcast with Bill Gassiamis, helping you navigate recovery after stroke.
Bill from recoveryafterstroke.com. This is episode 123, and my guest today is disability advocate Courtney Gabris. Courtney was already living with muscular dystrophy when at age 22 she also experienced an ischemic stroke. Now, just before we get started, if you have ever wondered what else I can do to help you with your stroke recovery, you should know that you can now get recovery after stroke coaching right from the comfort of your own home. I too am a 3-time stroke survivor and a brain injury survivor, and I have built for you what I was missing when I was sent home from hospital in the hope that you don't have to do stroke recovery as tough as I did. Support packages give you access to a variety of tools 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, so that you can also work on other areas of stroke recovery that you don't get the chance to at physical therapy or rehabilitation. With tailored support available for less than $8.50 per week, all recovery after stroke packages bring stroke recovery to you in the comfort of your own home. To try out recovery after stroke support and see if it is right for you, you will get the first 7 days free as well as a 30-day money back guarantee, no questions asked. As a bonus, you will also get 2 face-to-face Zoom support calls with myself to help take your recovery to the next level. Go to recoveryafterstroke.com/support to sign up now. It won't cost you anything for the first 7 days, and you will get a full refund if you are not happy after 30 days. You have nothing to lose and everything's a gain. And now it's on with the show. Courtney Gabris, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
I'm happy to have you here. It looks like you're just chilling, kicking back, lying down. Is it on your bed or your couch there?
Yeah, my bed. I painted my room this week, so I'm just soaking it up.
Well done. Hey, Courtney, tell us a little bit about what happened to you.
First of all, I have muscular dystrophy. Basically, muscular dystrophy weakens your muscles, um, progressive. I have a rare gene that only 50 people have this muscular dystrophy that I have.
In the whole world,
Yeah, the whole world.
50 people that you know.
Yeah, yeah. Like
Wow.
in studies, yeah. So I'm a rare one.
Well done.
So yeah, I went to college in Florida. I'm originally from New York. And my family and my mom moved with me because I had to get caregivers. I'm in a wheelchair, so yeah, I started school, and I was a year in. I was a junior. I went to community college for 2 years, and I was a junior. I went home Thanksgiving, kind of caught like a cold or a flu. So um, it was a stressful semester, and I was sick and doing all things that I shouldn't have done. So yeah, I finished that semester. Was so happy. It was such a tough semester with stats and all things. And I was hanging out with my girlfriend, and we had a nice time. And my mom is a nurse, so she was in the room next to my room, and I thought I was having a heart attack. So I called my mom, and I have never seen this and feel this, pain. Luckily, like, the hospital was, like, 10 minutes, so my mom works from that hospital, and we got in, and it was gone, and we did X-rays and CAT scans, and I was like, "Okay, like, yeah, I'm just gonna go home," and they're like, "No, you have to stay." And I'm like, "What?" Like, "No, like, I have plans tomorrow." And my mom's like, "No, Courtney, you have to go, like, you have to stay." I was so mad. So mad. I'm like, "Okay, fine." So the next day, I had Chinese food with my brother and my friend in the room, just chilling. I'm like, "Okay, I'll be out like the next day." And they're like, "Okay, like it's weird, like you're here." I'm like, "Yeah, whatever. I'm just gonna not think about it." So my mom worked from that hospital, so she had to go to work at like 5 a.m. The next day. So she was like checking with me, and I was having a stroke. I don't remember that part, but my mom obviously was a nurse, and she was like, "You're having a stroke." So they take me into CAT scan and MRI, and I had a large blood clot on my left brain. So they took it out, but the damages were pretty difficult to
Yeah. That was
think about, and reflecting about that. I was in a coma for 4 days.
wow.
And I woke up with my family that are in New York and Florida. I was like, what the? I was just so confused. And my aunt was like, "You had a stroke." And I'm like, "I didn't even know
What is
what
it?
is stroke." I was only 22,
Oh wow.
and now I'm 26. So
Is someone who has muscular dystrophy more likely to have a stroke, or is that unrelated?
yes, because my heart is it weakens when I get older.
Okay, so muscular dystrophy affects everything in the body,
Yep,
every muscle.
yep, yep. And we don't really know how my genetic issue that you know that rare gene that we have no clue about. They don't really know if it was the muscular dystrophy or the birth control, and I have no clue for 4 years later.
Okay. So the birth control is coming up more and more often in conversations, which I
I
have with
actually
people.
listened to that podcast about the birth control, and I'm like, that's the same issue that I had.
Wow, like it's so common, and I'd never heard about it before, and now I'm hearing about it all the time. People who are on birth control are getting symptoms of stroke, and they don't know whether it's linked to it or not, but they all have been told briefly by their doctor there's a small increased risk of stroke when you're on the birth control. And that episode was episode 118 with Priya Sharma. And Priya was, very young as well. She was,
Yeah, I literally I listened to it like an hour ago.
yeah. So you're not on the birth control.
So so in muscular dystrophy, I got my period so heavy that I was sick for like 2 weeks. So now I'm not on the whole pill that has estrogen, I think.
Mhm.
So I'm on the mini pill that doesn't have the estrogen.
So muscular dystrophy causes complications with the menstrual cycle, and
No,
therefore many people who have muscular dystrophy also have a requirement to take the pill to help them with that.
right, yeah. Exactly. It's just easier. I was just after the stroke. So lost the ability to talk, and my right body is paralyzed. My right arm doesn't move. So when that happened, I was just so taken back. I was just only 22. I woke up with my my family. I didn't speak, and I love to talk. So I went to I think rehab for a month in Tampa, and they were okay, but not New York standards. And and I just had to relearn everything pretty much by myself or friends and family.
Yeah. It's interesting to hear from somebody who's so young, who has had a stroke and had some other um, health issues
Right.
like yourself. Does muscular dystrophy kind of make you um, more resilient when it comes to now dealing with a stroke as well? Because you've had muscular dystrophy all your life, you're a tougher person than most of us anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
How does it
That's
help?
true.
How does it help to have that understanding of how to overcome challenges when now you're faced with stroke as well?
So when the stroke happened, I remember that I had a ticket to go to the Red Hot Chili Peppers concert with my best friend, and I was like, "I'm gonna go, like, this is a once in a life, like, opportunity, like, I'm gonna go." So, I really think that, like, my resilience is, like, just going really day after day, just bringing a positive attitude. I mean, trust me, there were cries daily,
Yeah.
but my mom is really resilient and really awesome mom and a nurse, and that's why I'm alive, because she had so much more education that really no one else, but because my mom literally studied like muscular dystrophy when I was growing up, because there were not really research about muscular dystrophy. So my mom literally taught the doctors.
So what you're saying is that a combination of your mum and also muscular dystrophy is possibly something that can get in the way of everything
Yep,
forever. So
yep,
instead of letting it get in the way, you've got this concert coming up once in a lifetime, and what you got to do,
right.
you just got to find a way to get there rather than find a
Exactly,
way not to go.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So just
so you
resilience and getting through. And I think once I got through, I was like, whew, that was a long ride, but like I'm speaking. So that's like an accomplishment that like I'm grateful for.
when you went to the Red Hot Chili Peppers concert, what
Hmm.
was it like?
Oh my God. I cried. I was just like, I made it. Like, it was like, I think it was like February and March. So it's like 3 months after the stroke. And I'm like, I made it. Like, I was just so happy. And my brother and me went together, and we were just crying because that was just like the only thing that like pushed me to get out of the rehab in the hospital. And I had school. I was like, oh, I'm gonna go to school in the summer. My mom's like, I didn't go back.
But you went to the Red Hot Chili Peppers concert.
Of course, of course.
Is it easy for somebody who's in a wheelchair to get to a concert and to sit in a good location and all that kind of thing?
Yeah, that's the perks. That is the perks.
So there's a special place for people who have
Yeah,
wheelchairs.
yeah, it's hard, but now I think now, like 2 years ago, now they're like, "Okay, we have special seating, blah, blah, blah," and it was really awesome because I had so much events at that marina, and they loved me, and they're like, "Oh my god, Courtney, I love you, like, right here." So, it was just a really awesome experience.
Isn't it amazing how a concert can be the motivation why somebody needs to get better from stroke or from whatever they're going through? Because if we can if we can have something to aim for that we're passionate about, that we're really going to enjoy, that we're really going to love, m- maybe that's going to be the key to making recovery happen a bit quicker, or put us in a mindset where we don't have to think about what we can't do. We have to think about how we can get there.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. I think just powering through it and then coming out and like you are just so mesmerized because you went out, you know? You got through it.
Many people listening and watching on YouTube will be saying, I was going to go to that concert, but it would have been not worth the trouble, or it would have been too hard. Um, what would you say to people like that who are thinking of canceling an event because they look different, they feel different, they had a stroke, whatever? What would you say to them?
Oh, so I don't know. Just go. Don't care about people. When I was younger, I really was insecure about my leg braces and my wheelchair. And now, like, I have like the best perks. Like, you're gonna go in a general admission, like, stand. I'm, sitting and having like the greatest time. But it just you have to be present and just go. I think people are thinking, oh, like I just had put makeup on. Actually, that was my so after the stroke, they took me off of birth control, and I had the literally severe acne that I've never had. It was cysts on my like face, like literally hurt so much, and I went. I was like, "Fuck it!" Like, and that actually acne stayed for a year, and I was so insecure. But now I'm like, you did so much things that you like couldn't have done without the stroke.
Yeah. I find that fascinating that some things you are able to find within yourself, strength and resilience and all these things that you found were inside of you, but you had to have a stroke to find it. I mean, it's such a crazy thing, but you found it.
Yep. And it's hard to tell people, don't worry about it, just, because they don't have the stroke experience.
Yeah. When you're at the concert, are you like me? When I go to a concert, I just forget about everything.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Yep. That was me. I was just so in awe because I've heard and like played the albums. I mean, probably like 15 years with my dad, and she was obsessed with the Red Hot Chili Peppers. So that was like my childhood. And I was just, this is so like worth it. It was just so amazing because I heard them for years. Just to see them and like after the stroke and got me through, that was just amazing.
Who's your favorite chili pepper?
I think like the whole group,
Choose
it
one.
just,
Come on, choose one.
uh, I don't know. I just love all of them. Actually, have this book, Scar Tissue,
Yeah.
and I wanna read it this quarantine, so it's on my bucket list.
Yeah.
But
Um,
audiobooks and books got me through also.
yeah, I love audiobooks. I can't really focus on reading too much,
Yeah,
especially
no,
after the stroke. It's a bit of a pain to sit there and look
uh,
at words. I think the words on the page kind of make my brain more tired than normally.
yeah,
So I love audiobooks, and they make it possible for me to keep up to date with the latest book
yep,
that I love, which
yep.
I may have bought it previously and just left it on the bookshelf. And it's a real difficult thing for me to have books on the bookshelf that I haven't read. I don't enjoy that.
No, me too. But yeah, my mom was really she loves books, and after the show, I was, depressed in the hospital, and she was like, "Let's like listen to music." And music was honestly the best source of just keeping me positive in the hospital and rehab. Um, I played Ed Sheeran, Coldplay, everything that, you know, I grew up with, and I think music and audiobooks was the key.
Yeah, music. Coldplay, you mentioned, is
Mhm.
one of my favorite bands as well. They're
Yeah,
awesome. And I can see why you would listen to that. They're inspiring, and the music really sort of reaches a lot further into your soul than, just
absolutely.
an external experience.
Yeah.
Tell me what your days are like day to day. What do you get up to? How do you start your day and how do you move through the day?
Now in quarantine,
Well, that's boring. No, not in quarantine because we all do the same thing in quarantine, which is nothing.
um,
Just
so
regular day.
yeah, cream, oh my god, oh my god, I can't. So now after the stroke, I'm originally from New York, so we actually moved back to Long Island 3 years ago after the stroke. Um, and so I go to PT 2 times a week. I go to speech 2 times a week. Um, I travel. I love to travel. I'm missing traveling. Um, oh, I just miss just not being at work. I know people love it, but
It's
it's
because your
eight
friends,
months.
the people that you meet there, isn't it? It's because of the people that you're with when you,
Oh yeah,
it's not because of the work.
no. And I love to go to the beach. Long Island has like all the beaches, 15 minutes like away. Now I'm doing graphic designing. I take classes on Skillshare and YouTube because I have to do anything about like the time, and I'm really enjoying it. I think if there's not quarantine, I actually would not like do it. And now I'm like so happy. I'm creating like pieces that like my friends my friends love and my family love, and I'm like doing holiday cards. So I don't know, I'm just really content now.
So you're creative. You're trying to find a way to express your creativity.
Yes.
Um, so when you're a kid and you have muscular dystrophy, do you know that you're somehow a little different than other kids? Is there a point in time when you go, "Hey, hang on a sec, I'm a bit different here," and how does that play out in your life? What I'm trying to demonstrate to stroke survivors is that we, at some point in our lives, we get made aware that we are now different than that other person, and a lot of us, especially me at the beginning, kind of struggle with, why am I different? How am I different? Why did this happen to me? How does a little kid kid growing up with muscular dystrophy deal with the fact that they are different? Because I know most of us just want to blend in.
Yeah, so I remember so until middle school, I was walking like full time, and I can do like pretty much everything in elementary school, but I had an aid and braces. So I was very like insecure about my braces and the aid because people like were not bullying me, but they were like staring in the grocery store like a mom like what is that like why are they looking at me? I'm like a normal, you know, kid in the grocery store. Um, until like I think I was just like I had so many doctors and braces, but I didn't know that it was progressive until middle school.
Uh-huh.
I think that the middle school was so large that I didn't have the capability of, you know, walking and not getting sick every day because my muscles were tired. And I was just so embarrassed about this scooter. And, you know, every obviously kid stared at me. And I think I was embarrassed and insecure for a long time until I moved to a new high school that was so small and the kids really loved me and they're my actually best friends now. So I think until like high school that was just a really tough time to blend in with braces and scooters.
Yeah. So when the school was really large, very easy to kind of not create strong relationships with people. But when it's small,
Absolutely.
more intimate, you have a better
Exactly.
opportunity to create really strong relationships.
Yep. Until now, they're my best friends. And I'm lucky that my mom moved. And my mom, you know, the last school, the high school was 4 floors and an elevator. And I did freshman year of that school in high school, and I was just like so tired. I had no friends. I was just tired of that life. And my mom's sister had a house in Seacliff, 30 minutes from me. And my cousins went to North Shore, and you know, they had a really small school that like I graduated with 125. So it was so small and one level, no elevator. So I was really independent with that school.
Yeah, interesting. You're independent. So, what do you think it is with kids that are the same age as you, but in school who don't have a disability, who don't understand what disability is like? What do you think is the issue with them connecting to somebody and making friends with somebody that has a disability? I'm thinking back to my days when I was a kid. I never knew anybody that had a disability.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Representation
Is
and
that it?
educated because I really had no one to really share this muscular dystrophy experience because I was around so much normal people. And we didn't get educated about disabilities. Like they had like the autism like room and we know like autism, but not really muscular dystrophy or physical disabilities.
Right. So autism is more of something that is not visible like muscular dystrophy,
Right.
but if you speak to somebody, you might become aware that they have a
Exactly.
different way of communicating with autism. But the fact that you are in a school where nobody knows anyone else with a disability, perhaps those other children don't know how to approach you, how to behave, they don't know how to be friends with somebody who is in a wheelchair.
Yeah. I think now social media has a very component of representation because I was actually speaking with my girlfriend that has muscular dystrophy in Michigan. She's 29, and we didn't really have that representation until Facebook and groups and just Instagram and TikTok. I mean, it's all over now. And I'm so happy about it, but I think me and my friend were talking like we didn't even know about social security or disability checks until we were like 25, so we had so minimal education about having a disease when you're an adult, a d- uh, when you're an adult and go to college.
So even you who had muscular dystrophy, you didn't really know a lot about it.
Nope,
No.
until 3 years ago because my best friend, her mom is a disability lawyer, and she was like, "You didn't know about Medicaid or getting AIDS for free?" My mom was spending her money to get AIDS. We didn't even know that New York pays the AIDS until I was 25.
That's nuts. That does remind me of stroke survivors. Stroke
Yep,
survivors have a stroke and they don't know why it happened, what kind of stroke they had, what it affected, how to recover, what
yep.
to eat, what not to eat, whether they should drink alcohol or not drink alcohol. And it's so strange, isn't it, that we have this thing and we don't know anything about it. And we're hoping that somebody else will tell us about it, but they don't. No one really
No,
wakes up one day and says, these are all the things you need to know about stroke. Unless you get curious, you're not going to become educated about it, are you?
right. Yeah, I was like, after the stroke, really no one told me like after the stroke, like what's gonna happen. So I literally Googled it and YouTubed it, and I told myself and my mom and the groups on Facebook.
Yeah, isn't it amazing we can do that now? I remember my first blood vessel bleed. The first bleed in my brain happened in 2012, and that's not that long ago. But even
No,
then, there was no information, and it was so difficult to get help, and I had to do it all myself. But now I'm finding people who have had a stroke maybe a month or 2 or 3 ago, and immediately they're into a group or a Facebook group or something, and they are able to connect with people and decrease that amount of time that it takes to get to know somebody that's like you. It
yeah,
decreases it and it makes it a little better.
If you've had a stroke and you're in recovery, you'll know what a scary and confusing time it can be. You're likely to have a lot of questions going through your mind. Like, how long will it take to recover? Will I actually recover? What things should I avoid in case I make matters worse? Doctors will explain things, but obviously you've never had a stroke before. You probably don't know what questions to ask. If this is you, you may be missing out on doing things that could help speed up your recovery. If you're finding yourself in that situation, stop worrying and head to recoveryafterstroke.com, where you can download a guide that will help you. It's called 7 Questions to Ask Your Doctor About Your Stroke. These 7 questions are the ones Bill wished he'd asked when he was recovering from a stroke. They'll not only help you better understand your condition, they'll help you take a more active role in your recovery. Head to the website now, recoveryafterstroke.com, and download the guide. It's free.
absolutely. Just knowing that, you can talk to a million, well, not a million, but, thousands of people that I thought I was the youngest that had a stroke. And then I was like, oh, okay, I'm not the youngest. Like, I was just so, I was just like so surprised that I was so young. And I thought, old people have a stroke, not young people.
Yeah, it's crazy. People have a stroke at every age, and we don't hear about it. We don't know about it. It's not spoken about. But it's good that we can find people. Well, it's terrible. It's shit that people have had a stroke at a young age or any age. But it's kind of good that we can find them if they have had one, so that we can relate to somebody,
Yep.
right?
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's best time. I know this sounds weird, right? But it's probably the best time if you're going to have a stroke. It's the best time to have one because the help is better than ever.
Yep.
Uh,
No,
the
it's true.
connection to other communities around the world is better than ever.
Yep.
There's so many positives, but it's a crap way to find people. I mean, because of stroke or because of muscular dystrophy, it's so
Yep.
bizarre.
Yep.
I remember speaking to a lot of other stroke survivors on my podcast that have had a stroke many, many years ago, say, 10 or 20 years ago, and even 30 years ago, where for maybe a decade, they didn't meet anyone else who had a stroke or didn't speak to anyone else about their stroke. It's just something that happened and that was it. They never spoke about it because to find a group was a lot harder than it used to be. So imagine having 10 years of this stuff happen to you and build up in you, and you haven't got anyone to talk with
And
about
they
it.
really don't have, like, they don't really, like, give you, like, a life coach, like, after the stroke. Like, you're all, like, doing it on yourself, like, "Bye, see ya."
Yeah.
Like, thank God my mom is a nurse, thank God, because I was just so uneducated about strokes.
It's one of the reasons why I also coach stroke survivors. It's exactly what you said,
Oh, of
because
course.
we need people that are going to help us get over the
Yeah,
line in those
yeah.
really tough times when we don't know how to navigate it. And it's difficult. It was very difficult for me, but I'm a very curious kind of guy. So I've reached out to people everywhere, all over the place. But and then I started the podcast to meet other stroke survivors. That's why I started it. But what
Cool.
I realized was people needed guidance and they needed
Absolutely.
questions answered and they needed their concerns to be heard. And that's kind of what my coaching helps people do. It helps people feel better at a time when things are difficult and also gives them ideas about where they can start looking for solutions. Because if you don't know where to start looking for solutions, they could be out there, but you might not know how to get them.
Lost. I um for example, I was in Tampa. I had home care for 6 months. I had a really good speech pathologist, loved her. But after I was like, okay, like I'm doing well, but like I'm not percent, like 100%. So I called every place in Tampa. They were like, "Oh, no, we can't see you." I was like, "Why?" They were like, "Well, you're kind of good. Like they don't really like have the techniques to teach you." I'm like, "Okay." Like I was just so surprised. So I moved back to New York and I called this speech pathologist and I was like, what the fuck? Like I'll just go back. And she was like, yeah, I don't know why they didn't teach you in Tampa. Like you can be here forever. I was like, thank you.
So they kind of maybe didn't have the resources to support
Yeah.
somebody like you who is kind of good. Like that's so weird. I'm well done, Gabby. You're So well done, Courtney. You're kind of good.
Yeah, it was just so weird. I was like, okay. But, I had to learn it myself. And that's like, not easy when you're 22 in college. And I had a plan, I was going to go to grad school and, have my doctorate in therapy. And I was just so dumbfounded that 22 that I had a stroke.
Yeah, I don't blame you at all, Courtney. I don't blame you at all. Tell me about the times that you've spent in hospital. Your muscular dystrophy, does that make it so that you're at the hospital with doctors all the time?
Yeah. 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 So after the stroke, my mom was literally like, they like, they were just not dumbfounded, but like they kind of put me on muscular dystrophy, not the stroke. And they like, oh, your arm's not going to really, like come back. I was like, wow, that's like a negative comment. Like 22 college girl, like it was just very upsetting that they saw me as a muscular dystrophy, not a stroke survivor.
Right. So they had always seen you as a Courtney who always had muscular dystrophy. She's had stroke, and they didn't adjust the way that they approached your health and
Yeah,
well-being.
absolutely.
Yeah. So do you still have regular appointments now, extra appointments for both muscular dystrophy and stroke?
Yes, I do. So, unfortunately, in July, I had another clot, a blood clot in my kidney, and I went to the hospital for 7 days, and they don't know why the clot was there. I'm on Coumadin, and it was honestly like a scary situation. It was a pandemic, COVID. I'm in the hospital. I'm just freaked out. Like, oh my God, I have COVID, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, yeah, I don't really know why that happened. Even now, like, probably 10 doctors, they don't know.
Yeah. I'm gonna read a couple of the posts that you've got on your
Yeah.
Instagram. First one I'm gonna read with is you've survived 100% of your bad days. What's that about for you?
I think what I told you, just riding the waves and getting out, and you don't know how much you have in life. And that stroke taught me, like, you don't even know even you're gonna wake up tomorrow. So after the hospital or the stroke, yes, I was angry and frustrated, and I have a muscular dystrophy that's so rare that no one knows about. But I think I'm not gonna be sad and angry because I'm wasting the day.
So is a bad day still a good day? Can a bad day be a good day ever?
Absolutely. Yep, I had a bad day 2 weeks ago, and I cried to my therapist. My best friend came over, and I was laughing, and I'm like, I just thank God. I was like, I'm just so blessed that my best friend called me. I had a bad day, and I'm laughing 2 hours later of the cry session.
Yeah. That's so cool that that a bad day can still be a good day. At some point, we can turn it around, even if it's just for a laugh or a friend or something
Abs-
minor.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that lesson taught me to, I have bad days, but I'm not gonna, weep for my bad days because I don't know what happened and no one knows what happened. I
Yeah.
can't change it.
Yeah. Can you can you have good days that become bad days, and then does that muck you up? Or is that just one of those waves? I'm gonna wait until the good comes back into my life.
Yeah. So me, yeah, waves. I'm not really I'm not like um I have a bad day forever. I have a bad moment for probably like 2 hours or three, whatever it should be. But I can't like keep up with madness and frustration and blaming myself because I partied in college and I had a stroke. It it just it's a risk for my anxiety and my body to have my heart palpitation so much, and it's just like I have to just stay calm, and it's hard, but you said it. I survived the hardest days.
Yeah, you said it's hard, but you also, in another one of your posts, you said you don't grow when you're comfortable.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, the stroke taught me. I was just so. I think I didn't see myself as a disability advocate because I was just so around normal people, and I just forgot about my disability.
Mhm.
And I think I was just, oh, that's good. Like, just don't think about it like the future. But now I'm just so advocacy and I talk about and I FaceTime my, friends that had a stroke, and I'm just so like amped up to just like have this conversation and just change one person or just the thought.
You know, some people who have a stroke think that it's not growth. They think, I had a stroke, I'm experiencing a disability, I'm in a wheelchair. That's not growth. That's going backwards. So what is growth during that time? Because there's this idea that growth look has to look a certain way. Like, how
Absolutely.
do you grow? What is the growth that happens?
So moving back to New York because I had to, after the stroke was a really hard lesson because I obviously love my college and my friends and in Tampa, but I think and I thought and it did, New York is a blessing because they have Medicaid and they pay my aides, and we're having a not a normal life, but yeah, and moving was a quite of a challenge because I had to not forget about what happened in Tampa, but I had to love myself to start a new one here, and I think that took several months. I think the summer that, okay, you had this stroke, you moved, this is your home, and you have to get accustomed, you know, to go to a new doctor and explain the whole thing, like, but I think to s- love myself and not blame myself for that stroke now, it's a good lesson.
So there's growth there because instead of blaming yourself, you're finding a way to just accept what happened, kind of, and then
Right.
allow yourself to just love yourself. I mean, that's growth. Is that weird? Have you not loved yourself until now?
Yeah, because I think what I had caregivers in elementary and middle school and high school and college. And I was just codependent for so long.
Uh-huh.
And I was just so codependent for my friends in Tampa. And I had to move home and just create a new, not personality, but I had to, talk to my high school friends and, tell them the story and what happened. And I'm okay. Just, remember, like, I had a stroke. But yeah, it was hard. But now I'm just so thankful that I have my high school friends that love me so much and have such an amazing support system here. And I accepted it. And I think to accept that, you have a disability and you had a stroke, and it's okay, to cry because I miss my arm. Like I have daily crying because I miss texting, But when I, cry and then the next day I'm so happy and I don't think about my arm, I'm just okay. I'm okay. Like I have my family, my friends, my dog, a roof over my head, food, you know, I'm okay.
You have a lot. Yeah. Now, in a couple of the photos on Instagram, on your Instagram page, you are doing the Snoop Doggy Dog by got a joint in your mouth, smoking weed.
Yes.
And
So
your comment says, under the influence, above the ignorance.
yeah,
Tell me about weed and how you use it and how it's helped you.
yeah. So freshman year of college, before the stroke, I had a stomach issue. Basically, I was so skinny that my stomach were not moving, and I would throw up every hour, and it was a very, very hard to accept that. And I had an food um forgot the thing, the feeding tube. Um, and I was just so embarrassed. Like, oh my god, I was actually 20. And my mom is a she loves organic food. She's like a Whole Foods nut. And the formula then was not organic, and I hated it. And my brother was a stoner in high school, and I hated it. And he was like, "Yo, just like smoke, like you'll get the munchies." I'm like, "Oh my god." So my mom's like, "Okay, I'll buy her a vaporizer," because we didn't have like the carts, now.
Yeah.
So I was just like, "Okay, fine." Like, all right. That vaporizer was my best friend because I didn't throw up. I tolerated yogurt. The feeding tube came out. I was like, fuck it. Me and my mom went to a nutritionist, and he was like, just instant pot the soups, like, instant pot everything. Just like blend it, blah blah blah. And I smoked weed for like probably like 2 months. And I literally went to the doctor, and he was like, "How? How?" And I was like, "Medical marijuana." And he was like, "Are you kidding?" I was like, "No, I'm eating a fucking steak." And he was like, "A steak?" He was just like so dumbfounded. And I'm like, "Yeah." And then I was like, "I love weed." And I really didn't have like the education of medical marijuana because it was like my brothers, buying like, whatever. But when I got better and moved to Tampa, I was like, "Oh my god, this magical, like, leap helped me to move to Tampa, like, tolerate steak and, everything." I was just so fascinated that, like, I was hungry every day because in muscular dystrophy, we're thin because we don't really tolerate, like, whole feet like, meals. I was eating, like,
Wow.
3 pizzas, like, 3 full-size slices, like, anything, and I was like, it it was like a miracle, and after the stroke, it was just I ate edibles, for a while, because my mom didn't want me to smoke for a while, and, the edibles, I take them daily, every day, and it actually works for anxiousness, but why I really love it is it relaxes my muscles.
Wow, man, so many benefits. So does it make you stoned, the edibles, or
Oh,
not?
yeah. Oh, yeah. I
Okay.
I just watched TV, movies. Yeah, we watched The Grinch last night.
Okay, cool. So the edibles make you stoned because they're basically just an edible version of the extract from the marijuana leaf, but the
Yeah.
medical marijuana doesn't make you stoned.
No, it does.
Oh, it does too.
Yeah, it just you have to get a card, and then in New York, you have to get a card. It's like $200, and then you have to go to the dispensary. But like the dispensary is really pricey, and my brother has a friend in Colorado, so he just really hooks me up, and really it just the benefit of smoking, I mean, and edibles. I love edibles. I'm like a fan of edibles. Anytime, I love edibles. I went to California last year. Oh my god, I was like in a candy store. It was insane.
And so many benefits. I've had weed plenty of times before the stroke, not so much after the stroke, but I did like the way that it does, chill me out, put me in a really cool, wiped out zone. The
Yeah,
munchies, I never really needed it to eat or anything, but the munchies was something fun to experience, just going nuts and eating everything and anything that was
nuts.
kind of. But I can see how it's really beneficial for people who have appetite issues, and how much a simple thing like having an edible can change somebody's life from being really unwell because they can't eat because of muscular
Yep,
dystrophy to
yeah. My
really having a
girlfriend.
health improvement.
Yep. Oh my god, I gained like 20 pounds. My doctors were like, "You've been at 60 for 10 years, and now you're like 75 pounds. Like, how?" Like, weed. I just tell them, weed.
Oh, isn't it sad that so many people have missed out the opportunity to
Oh,
experience the benefits of that because of some crazy rules around
yep,
what
yep.
marijuana is?
Oh, and I said the judgment. So, no, like, no, I'm not gonna smoke. Like, they'll judge me. Okay, people drink all the time, all the time. So I just say that. I'm like, yeah, it's not, it's not gonna be judged.
So 75 pounds is really light though, still, isn't it?
I know. Yeah, yeah. And then
And it
I'm still like adding pounds, but it's so hard. And my girlfriend Maria, that has muscular dystrophy, she said the same thing. She was like so thin, and she just like got a cart of the pen, and she's been smoking it for probably like 5 years, and she's got like gained weight and has the munchies every day.
yeah. I mean, that's fascinating. I just love hearing stories like that where before people would judge somebody having a joint or a smoke, and they have no idea what they're really judging and why people
Yeah.
do what they do. And now here we go. There's so much, again, conversation about the benefits of something that's been so badly treated by governments all around the planet, making it illegal, putting people in jail for it, destroying people's lives, and the benefits are so huge. And the people who are interfering in our lives with making something illegal have never had muscular dystrophy. They've never had a stroke. They've never had issues.
Yep.
And now they're the ones making decisions on whether somebody that's got a condition should or shouldn't use something.
Right. And the prices are just jacked up. Like, thank God my mom has the salary to pay like 85 a like a gram for a pen. But like there's poor people that can't get $90 to get a pen. That's wild.
Yeah. So,
And now Xanax is like $1. Like that's just it doesn't make sense.
so people like that would get their own supply through regular
That's
means.
exactly.
So in
And
California,
that's
it's
yeah,
completely
that's
legal.
right. And California and Colorado.
So the other states haven't made it legal yet. So if you live in California or Colorado, it doesn't cost $90 a
No.
gram.
Oh my god, no. No. Oh my god. When I saw that when I went to California, LA, and I went to the dispensary, the first one, and they're like, "Okay, like this is like gonna be like $100." I had like 4 pens, like edibles. I was like, "That's it? Like not $400?"
Yeah.
And it's crazy because like here they only sell the oils, not the bud, in the like dispensary, and that's like not fair. I don't know why governments obviously not smoke, place the rules.
I think it's a flawed system, but anyhow, look, it's a decent system. It works most of the time. I don't know. It's a big conversation. It's not for me to have. I'm not really
No more.
that interested in that. But what I'm interested in is just the things that need to that are helpful and beneficial should be made available to people, and
Yep.
that's it. And it shouldn't be up to me, who's never had a stroke before, to decide whether you, who has had a stroke or has had muscular dystrophy, it's not. It's, I shouldn't be deciding on what you should or shouldn't do. Like in that situation, I think it's crazy. But I kind of see that it may be started with supposedly doing the right thing and helping people, and I don't know what, but it seems like the decision to ban marijuana going back however many years ago, hundred of years ago, was maybe good for the time, and
Right.
it's definitely flawed now. It's not necessary.
Absolutely. And we have the study as and the research. I mean,
Yeah.
it helps so much people.
Courtney, I've had such a pleasure chatting to you,
Yeah.
getting to know you. It's been such fun. Thank you so much for being on the podcast. I really appreciate it. If people want to get in touch with you, where would be the best place to find you?
Actually, my Instagram is easiest place. It's at Courtney, Courtney Gabris, Gabrs. Sorry about that. It's my aphasia. Gabrs.
Woohoo!
Sorry about that.
It's all good. I'm going to post the link anyway. I just thought I'd give you a bit of a hard time by letting you spell it out. Don't stress. I'll post the link. I'm glad to have found you on.
Yeah,
I'm glad
so
to
excited.
Same. I'm glad to have you on the podcast. It's you're an amazing person. You're a fascinating person, and just thank you and keep doing what you're doing. And I love what you're doing, and that's why I needed to share your story.
Oh, thank you. I had so much fun. I can't believe it. So,
Discover how to heal your brain after stroke. Go to recoveryafterstroke.com. Importantly, we present many podcasts designed to give you an insight and understanding into the experiences of other individuals. Opinions and treatment protocols discussed during any podcast are the individual's own experience, and we do not necessarily share the same opinion, nor do we recommend any treatment protocol discussed. All content on this website and any linked blog, podcast, or video material controlled this website or content is created and produced for informational purposes only and is largely based on the personal experience of Bill Gassiamas. The content is intended to complement your medical treatment and support healing. It is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice and should not be relied on as health advice. The information is general and may not be suitable for your personal injuries, circumstances, or health objectives. Do not use our content as a standalone resource to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease for therapeutic purposes or as a substitute for the advice of a health professional. Never delay seeking advice or disregard the advice of a medical professional, your doctor, or your rehabilitation program based on our content. If you have any questions or concerns about your health or medical condition, please seek guidance from a doctor or other medical professional. If you are experiencing a health emergency or think you might be, call 000 if in Australia, or your local emergency number immediately for emergency assistance, or go to the nearest hospital emergency department. Medical information changes constantly. While we aim to provide current, quality information in our content, we do not provide any guarantees and assume no legal liability or responsibility for the accuracy, currency, or completeness of the content. If you choose to rely on any information within our content, you do so solely at your own risk. We are careful with links we provide. However, third-party links from our website are followed at your own risk, and we are not responsible for any information you find there.